Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about astrology and the death of Takeoff. He was a rapper. Um, he was part of a group, and I don't know if I'm saying this right, called Migos. He was one of, I believe, three people in the group, so he was 1/3 of the group comprised of three people. And he was shot in Houston, Texas, um, early this morning, and again, he's a Gemini sun, and again, the Geminis, I've said in other videos that Geminis, and Virgos, sadly, it seems like they dissipate out of our lives quicker than a lot other than the other signs, I would say, on average, because theory behind that is because they're ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is associated with the wind, and they come and go like the wind. He was a Takeoff. The rapper Takeoff was a sun in Gemini, born June 18th, 1994. Lawrenceville, Georgia. I don't have a time of birth, so I had to improvise once again and do a solar/sunrise chart. Uh, if by any chance any of the close friends or family members of Takeoff see this video, I want to offer my prayers and condolences to those people at this time. And he was only 28 years old, prime of one's life. I couldn't find anything as far as details concerning the person that shot him, or what it could have been, what the reason was, what the motive was. Was this hate crime against him? Was it something with jealousy? Um, what actually was there animosity, toward him? This is where I don't have that information, but you can look online. There might be, by the time this video is, done and uploaded, there may be more details surfacing pertaining to his death. But I want to talk about, some things in his chart, and some, transits that might be tied in with his passing, to a little bit about his life as well, and through the natal chart. And the thing about him is, first thing, look at the sun, being in Gemini. Sun in astrology is our basic fundamental character. And he was somebody that was likely very whimsical, mercurial, didn't take things a lot overly seriously, just a person that was probably very versatile and had manifold interests, and probably expressed a lot of cleverness. My understanding is he was writing, I believe he was composing songs in the 7th grade, according to Wikipedia.org. You want to check on and confer that, but I believe it was when he was in the 7th grade he started doing so. And Gemini is connected with communication. Gemini people can often be very precocious, and they see that world through the adult eyes at a very young age often. And his Mercury, I notice, is in, interestingly, it's in the zodiac sign Cancer. And Cancer, Mercury in Cancer. I have Mercury in Cancer that can show an ability to extemporize and speak off the cuff. He has it also, retrograde, so it shows that his thinking was a little bit more, methodical. And then being the Mercury in Cancer by itself can have, deliberate but retentive, mind, and being able to remember, things, very well. And one good thing with Mercury retrograde, I believe, could show ability to really rewind, keep rehearsing, and studying lyrics and being able to memorize them. It might take a few more times, going through them because Mercury is retrograde, but still that could be very good for memorizing lyrics, I would say, because you want to keep rewinding and keep reviewing the lyrics when you're before you're going to saying if you don't have them memorized. And the thing with this too, looking at his chart, the moon is in Libra, and having moon being in Libra, that could show the emotional need for doing something, connected, with the arts, and in this case, singing, being a rapper. He probably likely was somebody also that had, as far as the moon is connected with our inner self, our inner personality. So his inner personality may have been somebody that was very refined, sociable, and was enamored with things that were artistic and aesthetic. A person that could also be, very persuasive as well. I'm sure he could have done, if he assuming he never did, it probably could have been a very good salesperson, because you have the Gemini Sun, which can basically talk Eskimo into buying an igloo, and the moon and Libra can be persuasive. Gemini could talk people into a lot of different things. And the thing, looking at the chart as well as some other things to look at, he has his Mercury, Cancer, making a trine to Jupiter and Scorpio. That could be very, fortuitous and auspicious for writing. I have my Mercury trining my Jupiter, and I was a sports writer for some, for about like 5 years, and Jupiter's connected with sports. And the thing about this is, looking at this his chart, some other things I want to point out natively. He had the Sun making an inconjunct to his Uranus natally, and that could either be, inconjuncts can often be about adjustments. It could be too much or too little of something. It may have been too much focus on just on goals and aspirations, or not enough on them, or could have been too much of an interest in his own life, which is the Sun, or too much on friendships, and being in Capricorn, ones that were career related, business oriented, or older people. When you have inconjuncts that involve the zodiac sign Gemini and Capricorn, it can indicate, just in general, with the signs involved. Gemini is very mercurial and whimsical energy, and wanting to do many different things. And Capricorn is more of a focus and concentration on on one thing, being more of a specialist in one. So I'm sure he had a little bit of adjustment had to be made in his life, because the Sun is about our life, and the Sun in Gemini is about our variety and versatility, and being able, wanting to do many different things, the things that are connected with mental stimulation. And Capricorn is associated with, it's more about concentration. Uranus is connected with goals and aspirations, and Capricorn is the career. So obviously he had some adjustment that had to be made as far as that goes. And he also has Neptune in Capricorn. It makes a conjunction to his Uranus, and Neptune in Capricorn by itself could show very good business insight and intuition. And he has the conjunction of that to Uranus, and that could be very good for organizations and groups and clubs, being able to do so in a more group related environment. Uranus is also associated with television and the internet, so that could indicate certain success with that. And in the solar sunrise chart, it falls in his 8th house, so that could even give more passion, desire, and emotional intensity with that. Now, having Uranus in the 8th house can indicate an unusual, very spontaneous, unpredictable death. Transit Pluto was conjunct the natal Uranus at the time that he passed away, at the very least a loose conjunction to it. And Pluto is the planet connected with death. Uranus is energy that's very surprising and spontaneous, and it can really catch us by surprise. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back, but anyway. And another thing I noticed in his in the fact that Neptune conjoins the Uranus, I would say could suggest that this could be some death that was also very nebulous and unclear. And as I was stating before, the details really have not yet to be yet to be surfaced on this, and hopefully we'll see something sometime in the near future regarding it. But anyway, another thing in his natal chart, he does have the Sun in conjunct Pluto. And in just looking at the signs in general, when you have Gemini and Scorpio energy, there's a big disparity in that. And again, the inconjuncts can be about adjustments. It can be about too much or too little of something. Gemini energy, is very, it's whimsical. Gemini's loquacious. It wants to, talk a lot. And Pluto and Scorpio energy is more about secrecy and, having things, very private. And it's also, Gemini Sun, and, just can be superficial and may want to do things, superficially, not want to stick around and be overly persistent with things due to their restlessness. But Pluto and Scorpio energy, Pluto and Scorpio can have an intense desire and passion for the complex and going deep into things. So you have, their adjustment may have had been made with him as far as that goes. Pluto is also in his sixth house of work and health, and there may have been, maybe he might have been very obsessed and fixated with the work that he did. It could also indicate, some health-related matters that may be Pluto Scorpio related, such as something with the colon or the prostate or the bladder or urinary tract. But anyway, another thing wanted to talk about, there's also, interestingly enough, based on the solar sunrise chart, he has the ruler of the 8th house of death, Saturn, in the 10th house, which could indicate that a death may gain more notoriety, acclaim, and recognition. I don't know if acclaim is the right word, but at least notoriety and recognition and get more exposure. He also has the ruler of the 10th house of notoriety and recognition, one of the rulers, Neptune, in the 8th house. So those are indicators right there that his death could be one that would likely gain more notoriety and recognition than most deaths. Now, looking at if there's any other transits. Now, he had, at the time, when he was shot, he had transit Uranus was at least making a loose conjunction to the natal Mars, and by itself, that could indicate a very unexpected, surprising, shocking, form of violence taking place, or something volatile happening. Mars is also connected with gunfire. With Mars being in Taurus, I wondered if there was some argument over possessions or something of a monetary nature. And Mars falls in his 11th house in the solar sunrise chart, falls in the 11th house of groups. And again, it's just such a terrible thing for somebody, so young to pass away. And again, a Gemini, it's not really that shocking. It seems like there's a number of Gemini people and Virgo people. The celebrities seem to go, quicker. Sadly, they leave us quicker, dissipate out of our lives quicker than most on average. And another thing too, what I noticed as well is that he had transit Mercury, making, looks like a conjunction, or at least a loose one, to his natal Jupiter. and that that can enlarge news. And Scorpio is associated, Mercury in Scorpio, and Jupiter's natal placement, Jupiter in Scorpio, transit Mercury in Scorpio again made a conjunction to his natal Jupiter in Scorpio, and Jupiter can enlarge issues, and it can enlarge issues with news. Mercury being the news connected with a death and murder, and it's also energy, Jupiter, and the fact that this is in Scorpio is making this more, it's a very mysterious energy as well. And his, the fact that his Pluto, is in Scorpio, and the fact that it's retrograde, tells me that this is going to be, death where maybe for some time, we might be delayed in getting more information about it, one that's going to be, more mysterious. And I noticed too, he has the North Node making a conjunction to Pluto, and it just makes you wonder if there was something, sadly, if this could have indicated there was something preordained in his case that he would, succumb to a death where it was going to have, certain mystery to it. And I wonder if it had something, being the fact that Pluto is in Scorpio, even though it's generational by itself, I believe it could also indicate death that might have been tied in maybe to jealousy, to some kind of revenge or vengeance. It's really, and you see a lot of, the rappers are shot and, are killed and die. Early, you have Tupac Shakur, who was a sun in Gemini, and I think his birthday, not the year was different, of course, the year of birth, but I think it was close to Takeoff's. I think Tupac was either born June 17th or June 18th, but you want to again confer that on the internet and check that out and verify that information. And I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I would add to this. Now, I noticed in the solar/sunrise chart, he does have Chiron in Virgo conjunct the fourth house cusp of the end of life, and that could indicate more suffering and wounds actually connected with the end of life. It's in fact, it's in Virgo. I wonder if this might have been, if he may have been shot in the abdomen. The thing about this too is he also again having Mars in Taurus. There could have been, a shot maybe to his throat area, but I don't even know where he was actually shot. What part of the body was he shot? And that's something I'm not sure of. At this time, again, the details. I mean, it's very vague, and the only thing I found out when I was researching his death on the internet was just the fact that he was shot in, I believe it was Houston, Texas, and he died due to a gunshot wound. So, but again, I want to offer my condolences and prayers to the close friends and family of Takeoff, and it's again, it makes me so fortunate, to be 52 years old and still alive. And even though I have certain adversity and I have my own problems that I got to deal with on a day-to-day basis, I mean, it's just very fortunate and blessed to be among the living. And you hear about so many people taken away at such relatively young age, and they didn't even have the opportunity to live to at least a reasonable age. So anyway, people, that will conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.